Okay, I'll admit, at first I was a little bit sceptical over buying a crawler. I was in the frame of mind of, yeah, but they're slow, I'm going to be bored, am I going to like it after spending all the money, blah blah blah. And in short, the answer is no. I've finally taken a plunge, I think, into an area of RC which I now wish to have delved into a long time ago. In fact, I've even surprised myself by finding it very enjoyable going slow, and more so the challenge to control these capable RCs on terrain which ordinarily I'd never pit anything else against. It's been really satisfying. And to start with this particular model especially, it's been a really pleasing experience. So at £139, it's cheap. Upgrades are readily available for it, and on the whole, yeah, they're fairly inexpensive. Yeah, it's not your high-priced, nice RC four-wheel drive, for example, scale up, but personally I'm not really into all that. I'm more function than form, and just like this Ranger Shell, for instance, it fits the bill for me at the moment anyway, and I think anyone would suspect it's a Land Rover from a distance, so that's good enough for me. Anyway, let's get on with the modifications. What's been done? Starting from the front, the bumpers have been extended outwards by one hole. The first run I did of the car, it was clearly evident that the tyre treads were catching on the trailing edge of the front bumper when at full lock, and of course coupled with the varying degrees of suspension trouble. So to eradicate that, they've simply been moved out. The steering servo, that's still stock and doing rather well, I might add. This particular servo is ample for the car, in this spec at least. It's waterproof too, though when wanting to release the potential out of this model, it would really benefit from a stronger servo, just like any other RC, I suppose. The ECX and receiver combo, it's a nice little unit. It's still in the stock position, of course, up at the front. I haven't swapped it around with the battery or combined the combo and the battery up into the one place. I want to try and keep a nice balance and have a nice weight distribution along the chassis. This, I feel anyway, aids the car when it also descends. It's alright wanting to ascend with the upfront weight, but on the other hand, I'd also like to descend with the rear wheels still firmly planted on the ground as much as possible. I'm not running the risk too much of it toppling forwards over its nose, as I've seen other crawlers do on other videos online. It's given no running issues at all. It's totally waterproof. It's been submerged countless times, and it just comes back for more. There's no glitches at all, really. So I haven't felt the need to change this. Though should upgrades be done elsewhere, then of course it'll be changed out for an EHC then, which can actually handle the new setup. But just while I think on, there's one point for those of you who are looking into buying one of these models, beware, there's a little tiny jumper which is just here on the combo. It's very important that this be changed over to the LiPo or NIM before you use it for the first time. Moving to the shocks, they're still stock and in their stock positions. I've added 30 weight oil, as I wasn't really sure what was in there to begin with, or how much in fact, but when opening them all for the first time, they're all nicely topped up. But anyway, things seem a lot more supple now, and the shock tubes as well, they've been snipped by around 2 to 3 millimeters on each corner, which aids suspension articulation. So it now broadens the scope of the chassis and its ability to span more varying terrain. Be warned, folks, you can't take off too much of this, or else you'll end up fouling the arches on your body if the body's not high enough. Wheels and tyres, as you can see, still stock tyres on here. I've been really impressed with these actually. They're a nice soft compound, and to be fair, they've been good on whatever surface they've come into contact with so far. I've got a few sets of other tyres like Super Swampers and whatnot there, so I'm going to see how they compare to these. I picked up a few sets of wheels over time. Nice 5-spoke set of alloys, which also have stock FTX tyres on. These steel and alloy split rims you see here, with also, of course, stock tyres. These rims really, these were also bought for weight reasons, as I want to keep a nice low centre of gravity as possible with this RC, and these have helped no end. Now looking behind these wheels, the FTX axle wideners. These give an extra 5mm track per side, and I basically wanted to increase its footprint a bit more, just to give it a bit more stability on inclines and over any obstacles. The axles, in order to keep any water out and any other unwanted oddities, I simply split open the casings and I've added marine grease all the way through. Moving further back, the stock motor and the gearbox. These have performed so well for what they are. It's a nice low gear ratio. It works well with the 370 motor, and it really has surprised me just how well it can tackle a steep incline. It's, as can be seen in other Outback videos. The battery, that's my little 2S LiPo. It's still in a stock position. I've also ran it underneath the triads, hence why I bought a narrow battery for it, so it fits in between the shocks, which is good. Again, I wanted to keep a nice near as equal weight distribution along the chassis for it to go up and down gradients, hence why it's still there. I suppose the weight of this LiPo, it's got to be the same, if not close to the same weight, the combined weight of the combo and steering servo and all of its components, to be honest. I chose not to use the stock NIM. I went straight for the 2S LiPo. It gives really good run times actually, of at least 45 minutes to over an hour before it needs charging. Of course, it all depends on what terrain it's been running on and how you're driving. It's lightweight too, so it's not too heavy for the back end. Moving upwards, body posts. These have been raised by one hole, again in support of catering for the increased suspension articulation, which I mentioned a little earlier. And I think it lends itself as well to give the Land Rover 90 body quite a nice stance too. It's still using stock FTX electrics, of course, so they're simple to use. It has dual rate controls, everything is needed on top there. I always set my throttle dual rates just over halfway, but yeah, it is quite flexible. No, it's not your high-end unit at all, but it does the job. It does what it says on the tin anyway. So, and you'll use 4 AA's as well. The cost factor. Now, not including the wheels I bought for this model and the LiPo 2S, which I already had anyway, the changes I've made to this model so far have nearly all been free of charge. So in comparison to other money pit models which I own, I spent very little on this Outback. And for it to yield such performance as it does, I think it stands to reason that investing in one of these would certainly benefit those of you who are looking at a cheaper crawler model which is decent, or simply just getting into this area of the hobby perhaps for the first time, just like I did. It's a worthy choice in my regard anyway, and I'm glad I clicked add to basket all that time ago. But just going back to the outlay for this model, all I spent money on is to widen the axles, really, and of course the wheel sets. Moving the bumpers, free. Snipping the shock tubes, free. Raising the body post, of course that was free as well. The greasing the axles, that was free. The 30-weight shock oils, that was, well, I guess you can class that as free as well. What else? The alloys, really. The 5-spoke alloys I got, they were bought for a measly £9 delivered. These steel split rim and alloy wheels, these were a little more pricey at £17 delivered. The FTX axle winders and shafts, these are the heftiest outlay. I think it was £32 for the lot, if my memory serves me correct. So to get it to perform how mine does, taking into account the axles and the steel wheels, cost just £49, and there is a clear difference in stability from stock. I honestly think it's leagues ahead. So all in all, it's an RC which to me it's certainly proved itself as a capable crawler. I put it through numerous stern tests in this spec, and it handles things with relevant ease. One thing I begin to do actually is join a group so perhaps you can compete with it one day, but who knows, perhaps it won't climb the toughest of inclines in this standard spec like an axial cam for argument's sake, or it may not scale between 2 rocks easily like a larger crawler will, but one thing's for sure with this, it certainly doesn't leave me without a smile. This has been my first venture into rock crawlers and trail RCs, and I've got no disappointment at all. Just to quickly conclude, really, as I touched on earlier, I feel this RC, it has so much potential. I think it would be a shame not to set that free. Let's push its boundaries a little bit further. So in case you're wondering where this is going, I've spent a few more pennies and I'm looking to fit this little lot. So here I have a 55 turn brushed motor, which will be going in there. And of course, with me fitting the 540, it won't mate to this particular gearbox. So the popular mod is to use a Maverick Scout gearbox, which can take the 540. So apparently the footprint of the casing is a little bit wider than the stock one, so you have to drill underneath. So I can do that. Of course, all that needs to be controlled by an ESC. So this seems to be a popular choice again. So I thought I'd try this. It was nice and cheap anyway. This was only I think it was £10 actually. So the motor was £8, and the gearbox, complete gearbox, was £23 delivered. And so I have that, and of course a nice high powered 20 kilogram waterproof servo. That'll be going in there. And my Fly Sky receiver, which I'll have to make waterproof. So I'll be using that with my regular GT3C Fly Sky transmitter. So just while we're talking on Fly Sky, see, I've been using them for a number of years now, and I've got no issues at all with them. It's always been reliable. It's never not switched on, and plus I find that particular one, it's really nice controller. It's nice and light. It's comfortable. It has nice features. Uses a LiPo battery, and it's multi-model memory too. So with these changes, I'm sure it will see a different Outback now compared to its stock spec, as you can see here, and I really can't wait to see how it runs. So for the time being, folks, that's all there is. I hope you found this helpful. To those of you with an Outback or even thinking of buying one, and if you've got any questions or comments, even suggestions for this model, then please feel free to type them below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, ciao for now, folks.